students. So today we will perform one of the important practical, that is based on water quality analysis, that is estimation of dissolved oxygen by Winkler's method. So for that purpose, as sir or ma'am has already discussed the theory portion to you, so without wasting my time, I am just discussing the required glass apparatus and all the procedures to you. So let's see, the required glass apparatus for today's experiment is one burette that is already filled up by means of sodium thiosulfate solution, one glass stoppered bottle that is known as BOD bottle, and distilled water bottle. This is the measuring cylinder. 2 or 1 conical flasks are okay. One small beaker, one large beaker, that is the dropper that you can see inside that is actually a pipette, and over this pipette there are graduations, that is a 2 cc pipette. And the required chemicals are here: potassium iodide, as you can see, this is the potassium iodide solution. This is manganese sulfate, say MnSO4 solution, and this is the starch which acts as an indicator. So let's start this experiment. So first of all, before starting the experiment, as oxygen dissolves in water and that can vary with the temperature, so first of all we have to take the room temperature, say the laboratory temperature. See the wall hanging thermometer there. By means of this wall hanging thermometer we can record the initial room temperature. As you can see, the temperature is just between 20 and 30 and it's almost say near about 28 or 27 degrees Celsius. You can see, you can count it by your own. Now as you just look into the burette, sodium thiosulfate is already filled up, and to conserve our time we are not standardizing the sodium thiosulfate solution. We will give you the strength of sodium thiosulfate solution. So the strength of thiosulfate is actually 0.025 normal or 1 by 40 or say n by 40 normal. Whatever the strength of sodium thiosulfate is written in the screen. Now after standardization part, we have to take some amount of tap water from the tap in this stoppered bottle. So let's take some amount of tap water. So first of all, make sure all the glass apparatus are properly washed by distilled water, then first by tap water, then by distilled water, then you take fresh tap water into the bottle. Don't fill the whole of the bottle, rather leave a blank space in it, because you have to take some amount of solutions like manganese sulfate and alkaline iodine azide. So first I am just taking some amount of, that is 2 ml of manganese sulfate. So I can use this pipette. It is actually a 2 cc pipette. Now it is okay. I have taken 2 cc of manganese sulfate into the bottle. Make sure hold the solution inside the dropper or pipette must dissolve in the bottle. Now I am taking, after washing the pipette by distilled water, otherwise if there are any available extra pipette you can use that also, or dropper. Rather you can wash a small measuring cylinder also. So that is potassium iodide. I am taking potassium iodide solution, simply 2 cc. Yeah, it is okay. It is okay for us. So once we add this solution, you can see color will generate, and that is none other than manganese dioxide. As you know the chemical reaction, as that has already been discussed by our teachers. Now you have to do the bottle by upside down. By doing it upside down, mix the whole solution properly. Okay. Then we have to place this bottle into dark condition about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Okay. So after placing this, you can say you can see flock of manganese dioxide will be formed. So let's place it for about 10 to 15 minutes into the dark condition. Placing this bottle in this dark condition like this. Now inside this box that is totally dark, now we will find it or discard the box after 15 minutes. Okay. Now we are opening the bottle from the dark condition. Look, that is the manganese dioxide flock that has already been precipitated at the bottom of the BOD bottle. Okay. And why we have to place it in dark condition? Because in presence of light, the liberation of iodine fastens. To slow down this reaction, we have to place it in dark condition. Rather, that has already been, I think, discussed by our teachers during the demonstration. So let's add few drops of sulfuric acid in it, thereby making manganese dioxide to dissolve in it, and that will form MnSO4. So once we dissolve sulfuric acid in this solution, concentrated sulfuric acid, manganese dioxide will form manganese sulfate and iodine molecule will liberate. At that moment, we have to, without wasting the time, we have to titrate that liberated iodine by means of sodium thiosulfate solution that is present inside our burette. So let's add sulfuric acid in it and let's see what is the color of iodine that will generate. Now we are adding concentrated sulfuric acid. So we have already taken some amount of concentrated sulfuric acid inside this beaker. So always wear apron, cover shoe like me. So that's why we are using some hazardous chemical filters like some concentrated acids and also some hazardous chemicals. So I am adding some amount of sulfuric acid, say few drops. Not necessarily you have to add 2 cc or 1 cc, that is not necessarily. To dissolve the flock formation, the required drops you can add. So here I am adding drop wise and you can see the change that you can see inside the bottle. So just observe the change. So don't open the bottle for a long time, rather attach the bottle. Now look, we have already added sulfuric acid, and by doing it upside down the bottles for a few times, you can dissolve the manganese dioxide flock into the solution. If the particles of manganese dioxide are still here, as you can see some particles of manganese dioxide are also present inside this bottle, you can add more drops of sulfuric acid. So that's why I am adding more drops of sulfuric acid in it. Like that. So I have already added some more drops of sulfuric acid inside it. Now it can be dissolved. So again, by doing it upside down or by shaking, just dissolve the manganese dioxide particles or say precipitate. So now some dark brown color has already been appeared here. So why? That is due to the presence of I2, that is iodine molecule, and this is an iodometric practical, iodometric estimation. So now we have to standardize this iodine, say the liberated iodine by means of sodium thiosulfate. So for that purpose we have to take some 100 cc of that solution by using this measuring cylinder. Now I will take some 100 cc of that solution inside this measuring cylinder. So let's take that solution. So make sure that glass cylinder and all glass cylinders are properly washed by distilled water. So that has already been washed by me. So now I am taking 100 cc of that solution. So don't place the solution in the open condition for a long time actually, because for that iodine will liberate and goes to the atmosphere. That will hamper your estimation. So I am just taking that solution 100 cc and then I will start my titration. So as you can see, the initial burette reading now is showing 5.0. If it is not clear, just pause your screen and you can see the level. That is actually 5.0. The lower meniscus just touching the 5.0 mark. Now, without wasting the time, I am starting the titration. So, sodium thiosulfate is present inside the burette, and just by adding drop by drop, make the brown solution to a light yellow or straw yellow color. So, I am making the solution by addition of sodium thiosulfate. The solution will form a straw yellow color or light yellow. At that moment we have to add the starch indicator. So look at to the color change. The color is just disappearing, but don't make it a colorless solution. Why we are not adding starch indicator at the first moment? That has already been discussed by our teacher, or I will discuss it. Look, now the solution is showing some straw yellow or light yellow color. Now I have to add starch indicator in this. Okay? But no need to write the burette recording right now. The initial burette recording is fine, but no need to take the burette recording now. Without wasting our time, I am taking starch indicator. This is the starch indicator. We have to add few drops of starch indicator, and after the addition of starch indicator, the solution will form a blue color, intense blue color. So as you can see, that is due to the formation of inclusion complex compound. Starch will form inclusion complex compound. Now I have to do the titration once again, and until that will form clear solution. So I am just adding drop wise. So just look, that is already blue, forms colorless solution, and now I have to take the final burette reading. As you can see, the burette reading now showing some 8.123. Yeah, now it's showing 8.3. The lower meniscus just touching the 8.3. So that's all the experiment, students. So you have to write down or note down these values 2 times in your table, and then you have to note down, and then you have to do the calculation. For your simplification, I have done the calculation in my video that you can see inside the screen. Thank you guys, and if you have any query, you can ask me right now. Thank you.